Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Scoop World Order National Champions, baby. It feels good. The celebration is coming up on Sunday noon. It's going to be exciting. A very cold day in the shoe, but free parking should be a very good time for all involved. So make sure you guys get out there and see these guys one last time as a team. Always kind of surreal. But there's nothing better in the world than celebrating as a team. Obviously, they'll have their reunions and whatever, but as these guys are getting ready to roll, I mean, they all blast off into different parts of the country, the seniors, to go train for the NFL draft. And it's different. I mean, it's all different now. And it's going to be a young team next year, and we're going to be excited about it. Got a lot of coverage on it. A lot of intel is coming in. And this is going to be a fascinating offseason coming off of Natty, losing a lot of experience and seeing how Ryan chooses to rebuild this roster. It's going to be really exciting. So that being said, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. If you guys are buying national championship gear, which I know you guys all are, our Fanatics goes into Pay It Forward. We have a deal with Fanatics, so we get a small percentage of whatever you guys buy. It goes right into Pay It Forward, same as a super chat. So our link is in the bio. Super easy to get on, so click on our bio. It's right at the very top. So if you buy any of the normal stuff that you'd buy, it's the same price, same everything, except we get a little bit of credit that goes to Pay It Forward. So if you guys could do that, that'd be huge. Again, we've been promoting that, and we've seen a lot of you guys doing that. So thank you guys for doing that, considering us, because you get all your Nike gear. I know you guys all want the on the field gear, the hats, the hoodies. Like they've got, when we win a Natty, man, I mean, Nike's love and life, because our fans buy basically everything. Those white pullovers are going on eBay for crazy numbers. It's awesome. So there's nothing like the power of Ohio State supporters. And again, we just love you guys to death. I'm gonna break some film down for you guys tonight as well. So if you guys enjoy that, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. If you guys love the film breakdowns, put that down in the comments. I always like to see kind of some off-season projects, what I can work on, what I can develop for you guys, stuff that you guys enjoy. I know you guys love learning football. I've got some great all-22 cut-ups from some of the biggest plays of the game. Obviously, the J.J. Smith, Trey Henderson's block on J.J. Smith's long catch to seal it. Quinn Sean's one great run. And then some granular stuff, like some defensive stuff that I thought was really good. So we'll break that down. If you guys like that stuff and you guys want to really help us out and help Buckeye Scoop out for free, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, which is our audio formats. Again, we're trying to grow those. So I say it every night. It's the easiest thing you can do. It takes 15 seconds. Get on your iPhone, click the podcast app, search Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. Easy, easy, easy. And something that really helps our site out, helps us out. And it's completely free. So we appreciate you guys. So with that being said, going to bring in national champion Nevada. We are still basking in the glow a little bit. I mean, you said before the show, which I thought was funny, is like, I'm good for the next 10 years. And kind of right. I mean, when you think about, for that 02 one, we hadn't won one since 1970. It's like, to get one, or get three inside of basically 22-ish, 23-ish years, like it's pretty incredible for Ohio State, given the rate that we were running in previously. So what are your thoughts a few days after, as we are gearing up for the offseason?
Well, first of all, I want to start off with a shout out to one of our members. If you need a Chevrolet, Drew Trotter at Jeff Weiler Chevrolet in Canal, Winchester, Ohio. He asked me, said, "Can you give me a shout out, Nevada? That would really help me out." So if you're looking for a Chevrolet, Jeff Weiler Chevrolet, ask for Drew Trotter, Canal, Winchester, Ohio. We don't get paid for this, so this isn't some paid endorsement. We just do this because we love the Scoop family and we're helping everybody. This is all about helping each other out in terms of, so if you need a Chevrolet, talk to Drew. Now, having said that, I'm so freaking happy and I'm so excited about Ohio State. And I'm good for 10 years. I'm good for 10. I mean, Ryan Day there's only 3 current coaches in college football, I believe, that have won national championships. You've got Kirby, Dabo, and now Ryan Day. And that's it. And we've got him. And he's 45 years old. And he's getting better. So a great post by one of our posters. They talking about how he didn't get a chance to cut his teeth at Bowling Green, or go up to the ring. He was thrust into this job, and he had to learn on the job. And now we're bearing it's bearing fruit. It's been 6 years. He's been close. He's knocked on the door a few times. Had some cheating scandals, some bad calls, a missed field goal, some things that have kind of derailed him. But now he's kicked in the door. and no telling where he could go from here. I mean, no telling where this program could go, where Ryan Day could go. And I'm excited about 2020, but I'm just not ready to turn the page to 2025 yet, just because I'm just so freaking happy about 2024. And I wish I could be there at the celebration. If you have a chance to go say goodbye to this team, because this was a special group of young men, and they did the impossible. It's funny. I was writing a post today. I was thinking about Ryan Day and Ryan Day's path, and I was like, you know who Ryan Day is, Kirk? Ryan Day is John Wick. They gave him this impossible task. They're like, okay, Ryan, we'll bring in here, but here's your task. This is the way you get out. You got to beat Tennessee, then you have to beat Oregon, then you got to beat Texas and Texas, and then you got to beat Notre Dame, all on 4 consecutive weeks. That's your task, Ryan. And Ryan's like, oh, okay, we'll just go do that then. And he did it, and he let the bodies hit the floor for 4 weeks in a row, won all 4 games by double digits, covered it in all 4 games. Just an absolutely dominating performance. And so now, what do we deal with? We deal with, well, there's rumors about players being, approached, because basically everybody on the team is a free agent. And so you've got rumors of players, you've got rumors of coaches being, Knowles to Oklahoma, Chip Kelly to the Lions. What happens? And I'm just kind of sitting back. We're digging on all these stories, but my opinion on all this is, hey, we're the national champions. Whatever happens, we'll deal with it. We'll go with it. But we're the freaking national champions, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, once you win, I mean, there's going to be just an attack on your program from the outside, and an attack in kind of a good way, because teams are going to come after your coordinators. Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame obviously lost the game, but Al Golden bolted to the Cincinnati Bengals as a defensive coordinator. When you have success, like, people are going to come after your people because they want to replicate it. So, I mean, I've heard some of the numbers our backups were getting offered, and crazy. I mean, stuff where honestly, I don't fault any of the backups that leave for leaving. It's the new normal. Again, there's the brotherhood, and then there's, taking care of your family and yourself for a good while. And again, I don't begrudge anybody that tries to go somewhere else where they can play. Like Devin Brown, God bless him. Every time it's 10 o'clock at night and Cal Berkeley's playing, I'll watch it and root for Devin Brown. Honestly, like, the one good thing about the transfer portal is, like, when there's good kids like Gabe Powers, who went to Kansas State, Devin Brown, like, I like watching the good kids and rooting for them to do well. And again, Devin's a kid that was a great team player, stuck through the playoffs, came in the Michigan game when Will got dinged up, and, it didn't work out here, but I hope it works out at Cal for him. Classy family. And I think that's going to be, Zen McCulsey's going to go to Indiana, so be rooting for Zen everywhere he goes. And
Hey,
there's still some other guys.
Can I interrupt you just on the Devin Brown thing? It's such a great point.
Sure.
And I usually let you finish, but I want to jump in on this one. I mean, Devin Brown's a guy, example of a guy that could have left earlier, clearly, and as a quarterback, probably would derive some benefit from leaving earlier and going to a new program and starting to learn their offense, learn their terminology, go through. And he didn't do that. He stuck it out to the end, didn't play a play, came, all the way through the national championship, and the day after, now he's going to Cal. I mean, that's a great dude. I mean, how can you not root for a kid like that? When you have other kids that leave, to go be a whatever at Wisconsin, and like, you leave, and for the last 4 weeks you're sitting there watching Ohio State play. I mean, what are you doing? But Devin stuck it out when it would have been in his best interest to leave. It really would have been in his best interest, but he didn't do that. And I just have mad respect for that. And I just wanted to, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I apologize, but I just wanted to, it was such a good point. I wanted to jump in on that one.
I don't mind you interrupting me, because we know what the old adage on Buckeye Scoop is: it's always age before beauty. So you're always allowed to interrupt me as much as you'd like. Boom, boom.
Someone's in my house, Kirk. Someone's in my house. Someone's breaking into my house.
Do you want to tell that? Because that was That was an all-timer today, man. I mean, I thought that you were gonna. I thought you're gonna have to get the Glock out and, but you didn't.
Ready. I was barricading.
That was one of the greatest stories ever. We won't tell it unless you want to, but it ended in a very wonderful way, which is actually you're like, oh, like restored faith in humanity.
Almost shot the neighbor kid, man. That would have been terrible.
Yeah, at least the dog got home safe. That's good.
Little deaf Winnie. If Winnie almost got run over by Tracy. Could have backed over Winnie and run her over because Winnie's deaf and she can't hear anything. So that would have been terrible. Winnie was in the street, Kirk. Winnie was in the street. That's terrible.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that Winnie's not Will Howard, because if it was Will Howard, there's some of our fan base would have ran her over. They would have swerved into her. It's like, back come here. Like, he stinks. I was like, well, he's got the highest quarterback rating in the country, and he has the highest deep ball, and he's won the national title, but he's not good enough for here. I was like, well, I mean, I hope in my life that I see another quarterback season as good as the one Will Howard just had, because to me it's the best one of all time, because not only did he play the hardest schedule in Ohio State history, but he had the best season statistically. I mean, I don't know, again, you can get all these crazy yards, but for a balanced attack where we had 2,000-yard rushers, like that's about as good as you can get. You know, we weren't like 18. Because I know Haskins threw for 6 million yards in 18, but we were chuck and duck that year, man. We had no running game to speak of, and we were just throwing it all over the place, which again, that's fine. That's what we had to do. But we were like Oklahoma for that year. We just threw it all over the place. Real quick before we get going, and Larry, I see your super chat, but I just want to make a quick highlight. We don't ask for much from you guys. We don't ask for anything really, other than we appreciate you guys subscribing to our channel and subscribing to our Apple podcast, which again, that is huge. But RJ Story, Ranjit Story, who's on here all the time, and this is a 10. I'm not going to read your whole super chat, but he's on here every night, and he's got a great YouTube page that I need you guys to go follow, because this guy is Scoop family to the death. So I'm going to come back to your super chat because I don't want to go out of order on these and forget it. But this is his YouTube channel. You can see he has a full piano of Dark Side of the Moon, which is obviously an incredible Pink Floyd album, one of the greatest albums of all time. 121,000 views, which is incredible. But if you guys want to do something awesome for us, for Nevada and I, go subscribe to his channel and go help him out. He's trying to build it. Obviously, we're all trying to build our channels and followings, but he is diehard Scoop family. So again, this is something that's completely free. It'll take 15 seconds for you to do. And it'll help him out tremendously, help him get exposure, grow his audience, move him up the algorithm, the whole 9 yards. So I just want to say that real quick, because again, we are, we like to help. However we can help you guys, the answer is yes. If it's just plug in your business, plug in your YouTube page. Again, like this isn't going to become a commercial of a thing, but when there's people that are on here every night, they're helping us out. They're very generous towards Pay It Forward. How can we not say, please, by all means, we'd love to help you guys out. So take care, RJ. Again, I appreciate you, my dude. I'll come back to your super chat in a second. But yeah, there's always like these things that you regret in life, and you can't always make decisions that are, you make a lot of hard decisions in life. I made hard decisions when I was younger, when I was in the NFL. I made a really tough decision to leave the Miami Dolphins to go to the Bengals. Worked out terribly because I got hurt the first week I was there, and Miami really wanted me to stay. And again, does that matter in the long run? No, doesn't matter at all. But it was something where you make all these little decisions in life, but to leave a team after the Michigan game when they still have a shot in the playoffs, to me, I thought was crazy. And there were a bunch of guys that did it. I mean, our running back, Sam Williams-Dixon, I mean, he left I think the week of the Texas game. I mean, so you're the hottest team in college football. You're 2 games away from winning the Natty, and you decide to just pull the plug. And again, he didn't have a huge role. He's a scout team or whatever, but I don't know. I always say, if you get hurt, it's God's will. If you tear your ACL in practice and you were wishing you're in the transfer portal and you want to protect yourself, whatever, to me, that's just God's will. God's saying, okay, you're going to get some adversity, whatever. But I just, these guys that bailed on that run, I mean, you miss the most magical month in the history of Ohio State football. You'd have had a front row seat. You'd have gotten a ring. You'd have been, again, those guys I'm sure can still come to their reunions and stuff, but I would feel like such an idiot. Oh my God. I mean, I would be beside myself if I left those guys behind. And our punter that went to Vanderbilt, and I get it, he wants to get his graduate degree, but dude, to leave a team like that and miss out on that, it just would be, I'd be sick. And again, I didn't have this choice when I was in high school, but I was a senior in high school when we beat the Miami Hurricanes, and the team went 14-0, and that magical first national championship. And and so when you're young and naive like I was, well, in '03 we had the whole team back, and before Maurice got kicked out of the university. But when I was committing, I was like, God, we're gonna have Maurice Clarett back and 20 starters back. Like, we lost Dawson, Donnie Nicky, and Chris Vance was kind of a starter. But we had everybody else back. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna win a national title my freshman year. It's gonna be amazing. And then we never won one, lost a couple of them. So to miss out on winning a national championship, which is now, I think winning a college national championship might be the hardest thing to do in sports, because you have to be so lucky, and you have to have so much. Obviously, you have to have skill, talent, great coaching, but you got to be lucky, man, because this season is so long. And the thing about college football that's different is you got to do it with basically no depth, because when you win one, like Ohio State just did, your depth players are going to become priority free agents for major schools that have money to offer them. So they're going to be pilfering your Zen Mikulskis and your George Fitzpatricks and your Jaden Ballards and your Gabe Powers. So your second team guys are all going to be getting paid handsomely to go start. They're going to get paid starter money without being starters, because not only are you getting quality players that have been in a winning program, a national championship caliber program, they've been trained by Mickey Marotti, but you're getting good people, because like the way that we recruit our guys now, we don't really take bad kids anymore at all, because we don't have to. We're so selective. That these kids are like a kid like Jeremiah Smith is a great kid, quiet, works hard, and that's kind of the brand. So that's just like winning the Super Bowl. Like, whoever wins the Super Bowl, there are going to be teams that will overpay for players on those Super Bowl teams just because they want to kind of inject some of that culture into their organizations. Like when the Browns overpaid for Willie McGinnis at the end of his career. Like, Willie had been at the Patriots his whole career, and last 3 years or 2 years with the Browns, and way overpay him. You're paying for past production, but he'd won rings and Super Bowls and whatever. So that's just kind of what is going to come with the territory now in NIL. Now, on the flip, it's not just, oh, poor Ohio State, poor winning the national title. Like, we're the most desirable place in the country right now, even though it's 2 degrees and freezing out. Like, we still have a red hot culture, a red hot coaching staff. The 2 best players in college football are on our team, one on offense, one on defense. So kids are going to want to come here and play and get developed. And again, you've got these case studies of like Will Howard coming in, and a guy that who knows where he would have gotten drafted last year, but he's just accelerated up the charts of his draft stock. Josh Simmons, a guy who knows where he would have been if he would have stayed at San Diego State, comes here. He's going to be a top 20 pick or so. As long as he, his medical evaluation goes good on his knee. You've got all these case studies of these guys that come here, and this is kind of like an IMG Academy on steroids. If you're here for a couple of years and you get coached by the best, and these guys have proven to put guys in the NFL that are ultra productive, Garrett Wilson and CJ Stroud and Nick Bosa, like this culture, NFL GMs like drafting our guys because Paris Johnson, they show up, they know how to work. They're good kids, good character. They end up being captains in the second year of their careers, and kind of way you go. So I don't know, Nevada. I think that it's all gravy. It's all good from here. What are your thoughts as we head into the offseason? Because this is going to be an insane offseason for Ohio State, I feel like. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be an insane offseason. We've got the NFL draft coming up, and I was just thinking about all those kids that came back last year. And, I know you don't have the list in front of you, but kind of just mentally, can you think of a single one of them that didn't enhance their draft stock? Because I can't.
No. That's the thing, is like it literally, every single guy got better and played better and won a championship, which again, that might not totally matter in the NFL process. But to me, it's like, if you can draft a guy that's a winner and has proven that he can be productive in a 16-game season. Because again, the hardest part about the NFL that people don't talk about is like, the season used to be 1,000,000 times longer. So guys would like hit these walls. Like, I remember my rookie year, it's like you play 4 preseason games and you got 16-game regular season plus a bye. It felt like it was twice as long as a college season. It was terrible. But now you got guys that proven they can dominate in that 16th game. And so if I'm a GM, like, well, God, Tyreek was just as good in game 16 as he was in game 2. So obviously he's in great shape, works hard. I'm going to show a video of him taking on a double team and doing a clinic tape. Perfect. I don't know. Like I think that all these guys that come back and jump into this mix are only going to get better. But go ahead and continue.
Yeah, no, I just and that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Guys come back and their draft stock goes the other way. And in this case, they came back, they won their championship, and they enhanced their draft stock. In some cases, just severely enhanced their draft stock. I mean, Jack Sawyer, I'm not sure where he would have gone prior to all this, but now I know it's going to be significantly higher now after this. And Will Howard, while he wasn't a returning to Ohio State, certainly a returning to college football. Um, I mean, but you could go down the list in terms of doing it, and you love to see good things happen to good people. And I just feel like all these kids came back and it really paid off for them. It paid off in the biggest possible, it paid off in terms of a lifetime memory, in terms of their legendary status at Ohio State, but also in terms of that short term, how am I viewed by the NFL as a player? And I think your point about the season's a great one because back in the old days, college teams would play 11 games, maybe 12, and now you're going 16. That's pretty much an NFL schedule. And you're right, for Tyler, a guy that had conditioning problems early in his career. Conditioning was never a thought on mind watching him play this year, and that's pretty amazing considering where he started from and where he ended up. But yeah, no, this is going to be a crazy offseason, all around. NFL draft, portal window, transfers in, transfers out, coaching changes potentially, and getting geared up for 2025. I know they've already got the preseason polls out for 2025, and I think Ohio State's a consensus top 3 team. I think some people have them 1. I know Colin Cowherd's picking them to repeat next year. I mean, so nutty times to be an Ohio State fan. When you think back, where were you mentally 6 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago or whatever it was, whatever that time was. And now where are you as an Ohio State fan? We are literally at the top of the mountain, and boy, does it feel good.
Yeah. I mean, when we talked about after Michigan, where do we go? I mean, I always came back to that. I felt like we had the best players in the tournament. Like as a collective group, we had the best players. So that's the start. I felt the Michigan game, as horrific as it was, as poor as it was on offense, like our defense still balled out. So, okay, you got half the pie, and then we just can't have a game plan like that Michigan game again, So then, going into Tennessee, like I thought Tennessee's defense was really good. I wasn't sure about their offense. I thought if you hit that quarterback, he's gonna throw it to you a few times and get shook up. And plus, like I felt like that quarterback in that cold, like I don't know. But I was like, we got to stop their running back, and the running back tapped out early in the cold, which is great. Made our lives a little bit easier. But I thought, when we started talking about rotating Luke Montgomery and stuff, I was like, oh my God, are we going to rotate guards? Like we've never done that before. So that was something out of complete left field that I've never seen ever, like a 3-guard rotation throughout an entire playoff. And like, no, because nobody does that ever. And it worked. And, Luke Montgomery, again, there's been weird stuff that I've seen and witnessed, and like I said, I study Ohio State football closer than anybody, and surely anybody in the media, and it's not even close. And I've never seen anything like the ascension of Carson Hinsman and Luke Montgomery. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, Carson is a guy who was jettisoned and humiliated and benched, and even when we had the worst offensive line performance in a long time, they still didn't go to him. They let him sit there and watch Matt Jones screw up the calls and our tackles laid off the ball, and they just refused to acknowledge that they screwed up, and then they just put him in. They left Enoch in there, and Enoch was terrible, and Enoch's a very nice kid. So it's like I'm not trying to bag on Enoch, but it's like there's no reason to put him in there. Put Matt back at guard, put Carson back at center, and block Missouri the same way we blocked Notre Dame and we blocked Michigan, and we blocked all the Penn State. So again, it was bizarro world last year. Now again, I know we had Lincoln playing quarterback and Devin got hurt and Kyle McCord quit on the team. Like I get all that, but for Carson to keep his nose to the grindstone and stay ready. Because again, it's hard to get demoted and stay ready. I mean, again, like it's you go from being a 12-game starter to bench to they're playing. Everyone in the world is playing Zen Mikulski. They're playing Austin Seyerveld. You're not the 6th man, the 7th man. You're like the 8th or 9th man after starting 12 games last year, and he stayed steady. And when he got his chance to play guard, he went in there and balled out, played fantastic. And then when Seth got hurt, that Indiana week, he went in and played center, was fantastic. Again, if you didn't know any better, if you didn't know the numbers and you didn't know, if you're from Mars and you showed up and said, yeah, our center won the Remington, and that you watched Carson's film in the playoffs, you'd say, yeah, he's pretty damn good. He's really, yeah, absolutely Remington. Look at him. I mean, he's all over the place. He's physical and running the show. And I mean, I don't know how many times we misidentified things. It wasn't very many. I mean, our guys are always going to the right people. And again, when you're talking in the running game, the center has to point who you're going to. Usually it's this linebacker, that linebacker. If a safety comes down, you might have to change it to him. But whoever he points to, so who everyone has to work to, and he didn't get fooled many times. I mean, our guys, when I watch the tape, they're all working to the right guys, and he's directing traffic. Which again, it sounds easy to do, and it's easy to do when you're sitting there on a blackboard and you got a pen and you're drawing, everybody's staying there. But like when you're going against like Al Golden and some of these defensive coordinators that are literally their job is to try to confuse you and get you screwed up, like especially in pass protection where they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. He was really clean, really good. And because he's a very sharp kid, he's prideful, and he did great. And then Luke Montgomery went from like can't put him in the game, not playing at all, to like you could put him in ink as our starting left guard at this point. I mean, he played so well that he played every snap against Texas and took over the game in this championship. Really physical, tough. Again, arrow pointed straight up, and good on Luke. I mean, God, he's a guy that never played guard until he got here. He's a tackle all the way and good athlete, and he's really become a dominating guard. I mean, he could be an all Big Ten guard next year based on the tape. Because again, after you've gone through what he's gone through playing Texas and Notre Dame and Oregon, like when you play these guys next year, I mean, after Texas, like it's going to be like a cakewalk because you just ran through the hardest gauntlet you could ever go through in terms of defensive linemen. And so now, I mean, what's he going to do when he plays lesser opponents? I mean, he's played the hardest guys you could possibly play. So again, I love the direction of this offensive line. I'm excited to see Ethan Onawara, the kid from Rice, who's a monster left tackle, played right tackle some. I'm going to watch some more. I watched some of his film against Texas. I try to watch him versus good players, and he's a big dude, and he needs coached up, and he needs some technical work, but he's got a big frame, long arms, perfect for pass protection. Same with Phil Daniels, who's like 6'7". So you get two big, tall tackles, which is what you need in pass pro. And I'm excited, man. And I'm a big fan of my boy Travis. Max, don't call me Travis Clare, too. I'm going to call him Travis Clare from here on out. But yeah, this is going to be a really interesting offseason. And it's all really going to come down to Julian saying. Because again, like the thing I've said a billion times is that if your quarterback is in your MVP, the MVP of your team, you're probably not going to have a very good year. You're probably not going to be, I mean, your quarterback has got to be really good. Like when I played with Troy Smith, he won the Heisman and all Big Ten and everything else. And that's what drove the bus. And Will Howard had the best season in Ohio State history for a quarterback, in my opinion. And we won the national championship, and he was nails, and the only game where we didn't look great on offense is, the one where he got hurt early on. He got, the nerve versus Michigan, and, I mean, he wasn't right. So the whole team wasn't right. So, but when he was right, we were like a hot knife through butter on offense, and it was fun to watch. Nevada, anything else? And we'll go into the film room and bust some tape down.
No, just, I mean, to your point, Will Howard.
God bless.
I mean, just, such a good player, but, he didn't have to field those low snaps from Carson Hinsman. I mean, Carson even improved his snapping. Carson, after he gets sent to the Isle of Misfit Toys, he earns Iron Buckeye in the offseason. So that's how hard he was working, which is an impossible state. You know how hard it is to be an Iron Buckeye. And then when guys get hurt, they don't even go to him. They go to everybody else. They're going to the cheerleaders. They're going to Brutus. They're going to everybody else. And Carson's still sitting at the end of the bench. And I'm calling it right now. I'm going to call it right now. Okay, you ready? Carson Hinsman is going to win the Remington before he leaves Ohio State. He's going to be a Remington Award winner at Ohio State. Mark it down. Hold me to it. And let's go to the film room, but he's going to win the Remington.
Remington Buck. We've had, that's one, for whatever reason, we've had like a chokehold on. I mean, it's crazy. We've won 4 now since 01. I mean, Charles won one, and then Elfline, and then Billy, and then Seth. I mean, that's crazy to have 4 Remingtons in this run. And the funniest thing is that Nick Mangold was probably the most deserving guy, and he didn't win it, which is insane. I mean, Nick was a borderline NFL Hall of Famer and great in college. All right, let's watch some of this. I mean, you guys show up. You guys want to see what good blocking looks like. Let's show you some of it. So we got the boys in. This is Quinshon's long run. Just an inside zone. We got the motion over here. We like to do this where you kind of you do this little motion across to cut off the edge. This is real simple. This is just Josh Rowe, but we got a really good double team here. Really good square double team here. Will Kazmarek did a really good job blocking this game. So just an easy handoff here. It's this little wind back where you show the ball over here, so they think it's coming this way, and then you wind it back, and so he does this little. You watch his little counter footwork here, where he takes a step and then he comes back over here. Again, it's just to freeze these guys for a second by showing the ball, making them think it's coming right here, and then all of a sudden he winds it back. But again, this cut is fantastic by Quinshon. Cut, and then it's just to the crib. And he's got the Jets on, and he gets hawked at the end here, which I'm sure he'll never live down. But that's a backbreaker right there when you get that kind of yardage on this play, and he's clean. Like he doesn't. I mean, he hits that cut, but he doesn't have to make anybody miss. And part of it is because again, these guys they're all proud of their man coverage. And again, there's a thing I put on our Instagram about JJ saying he just laughed when they're playing man. But when you play man and you do this with Mecca, I mean, he's running himself out of the play, and you got the safeties, and he's in La La Land. He's coming over here too, thinking that Mecca's getting the ball in like a jet sweep. I mean, again, I think when they see this ball with its reverse out, they're thinking jet sweep. They're thinking, okay, he's getting it jet, because that's watch the safety. I mean, the safety is on Neptune right now. Look at him. I mean, that's the guy that needs to stop it right here, and he's jumping this jet. So these guys see Mecca coming across because we've run it with Mecca, and he's taking all this attention, including these guys just run themselves right out of the play because of Mecca, and so Quinshon gets open. But some of the really good stuff on here, Tegra excellent here on this double team. The thing that makes this double team great though is Carson punches this guy on the hip. And this is something I used to always teach the guys when I coached, is like, look, when these guys are engaged and it's like 2 dominoes leaning against each other, if you get in here on that guy's hip, imagine, go get your 2 kids to like run into each other and hold themselves. If you go up to one of them and you push one in the hip with one hand or even 2-handed, this guy's going to go flying into orbit. And so he hits his hip right here. And again, it makes this crease enormous, and Carson's working up to him, but this guy works himself so far out of the play chasing the reverse that Carson doesn't even have to touch him. By the time this guy realizes that Quinshon's got the ball, Quinshon got a full head of steam. This guy's got to turn and change direction. He can't do that. There ain't no way. So, and again, this is good by Donnie and Luke too. These guys are double teaming. Again, we went away from the zone stuff, but we did this is pure zone right here. And and Luke, because of all this and because of this motion here, this linebacker is in hell because he thinks that this is going to be a jet. So he's confused. He sees this. Oh God, it's a jet. I better get over there. So he goes over there. So Luke and Donnie can hang on this double team for an eternity. So Luke doesn't have to worry about this guy triggering, because if this guy, shoots the gap, Luke's got to come off this double team. But since he doesn't shoot the gap, he can hang on it for a long time. So these guys basically don't ever leave the double team, which is great. And the linebacker, like, this is as easy of a double team as you ever get because the linebacker just runs into Luke, so and then Carson doesn't even have to touch. So again, it's not Carson's fault because this guy just way overplays it. He way overplays it. This is why I love Chip Kelly, because like this is a motion. Mecca comes from out here wide, motion in, and again, this is why you do this little wind back handoff, because you show the ball like this and you see this. These guys are thinking jet sweep and they are flying over there. And all of a sudden it breaks and there's this butt naked. Like the guy that's supposed to be like in the hole here is the safety, and he's way over here because he's guessing. So, I don't know. Like, again, people that say Chip Kelly doesn't know football and doesn't know lost a step and all the other moronic things I heard about him. Like, you could run that play without that jet motion and it would probably go for 4 or 5 yards. The safety would be the free hitter in the hole. The linebackers wouldn't trigger. But when you add that motion, which again, you don't have to do, but you do it. And then you also add the counter action with that wind back handoff where Will Howard extends the ball. It all works in symmetry to, confuse the defense. Because when you confuse the defense, they take a false step, and you have that kind of speed coming with Quinshawn, who's, again, runs like an angry barbarian, kills anything in his path. But again, when there's an open hole like that, he can just hit the jets and go for 75 yards or whatever it was. But again, that's not super difficult or crazy, but it's just like the little nuance stuff that Chip is added to this running game that's really, really good. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, we were having a discussion on the board today, and people were talking about Justin Fry and the job Justin Fry's done, and I completely agree. Justin Fry's done, an amazing job. But to your point, scheme is everything, because you could have great linemen with a poor scheme, and they're going to look very pedestrian. And you can take good linemen, good ones, and put them in a great scheme, and they look like 5 Jim Parkers up there on the front. And that's what you had with that play. That's just unbelievable play design. And like I said, little things, a little push on the hip here. One guy's out of position. Tegra falls on top of a guy, and bang, 75 yards down the thing. So scheme forever and ever for the win. Final answer.
Well, and that's the thing, like with Chip, is like, I told everyone, like, when we lost Seth and we lost, we changing the line around and moving Donnie to tackle. I'm like, with Chip's scheme, when he's cooking, like I always say, like, you don't need like 5 Orlando Paces to be good on offense. You just need guys to get in the way and let the misdirection carry. And again, I've said this a billion times. You guys hear it all the time. When we played the Florida Gators and they beat the brakes off us in the national championship, there wasn't, and again, we had Vernon Golston, 6th overall pick. Jay Richardson was like a 5th or 6th round pick. Quinn Pitcock was an All-American. David Patterson was a captain, great player. Like that offensive line the Florida Gators had did not have a single draft pick, not one. None of the guys on that starting line got drafted, none of them. And they shredded our front. Why? Because they did a lot of stuff like that, a lot of misdirection, a lot of stuff where guys would take false steps. And that was when that was kind of at the cutting edge of offense, where we hadn't seen that kind of stuff before. So Urban brings his rushing attack from Utah, and people in the SEC are like, well, this isn't going to work in the SEC. I'm like, well, if you confuse defenders and they don't know where the ball is, and you run a lot of plays that all look the same, and you give it to different people, like eventually you're going to bust some of these things loose. And again, Urban's attack, where they had that horizontal running game, just gassed our defense out, like destroyed. And again, I'm not blaming them because we sucked on offense too. So this isn't like a whatever he said, she said, but I just remember watching that offense and I was like, that is amazing, because it wasn't like they were just out there just mauling us and killing us. And you look at the score and you're like, yeah, we got killed. But it's like, no, their offense was good. It is like, and I was like, man, I wish we did more of that, because it's not just go, ram your head into a wall over and over again to try to get yardage. And again, what we did with Truss and as productive and as tough as we were running power, like Truss always likes to remind me, and I love Truss to death. LaDainian Tomlinson, when he had 29 touchdowns and broke the record, that was their number one play. It was power. And again, I love power, and so does Urban Meyer. It's his favorite play. But like some of these little nuanced misdirection things just really, really make it hard to play defense. And again, in my brain, when you say, Kirk, what is like the most important thing on offense? It's be hard to go against. Don't make it easy. Don't make it predictable. Make them guess where you're going. Make them have to take chances. Make them think that, hey, if I don't take this chance here, then we're not going to stop it. We're going to get shredded. Because again, that safety, he thought he was going to make some amazing play and go hit Emeka on a jet sweep and get a tackle for a loss and get the crowd fired up. And instead, he ran himself completely out of position. And Quinshawn got to the second level. And there was nobody at the third level. They're gone because they're chasing Mecca. So again, that's why you recruit good players, because with Mecca's Mecca. All right, I got the play of the game, Nevada. This is one that I'm sure the stadium was slightly loud for. This is JJ's catch. So we go max protect here, which is smart by Chip and Ryan. They know that, Will Howard knows that if JJ's not singled up and they do some sort of zone, you got a zone beater over on this side. but JJ's manned up, so he's going to JJ right away. So we 7-man protect, we max protect. So it's R7 versus these 5, basically these 7. Pick up whoever we got. But this is you want to put Trey Henderson in the Louvre, and you want to put a play on his NFL draft reel. This pass protection right here, where he takes this linebacker, and again they're kind of in like a kind of a bearish front, a 5 down front. This linebacker basically picks a hole, before the snap with this guy. So he's going to work here. Linebacker's going to work here. And, the goal is to put Trey's into Will Howard's kneecap. Like he wants to bull rush him into the kneecap, and Trey just stones him. I mean, helmet right under helmet, knocks him out, again, and Josh is out here jumping, good by Tigra, and Carson's got a tough one. He's got to hang in there on the island by himself. But this is just excellent. And again, this is really good by, I think this is Bennett, or I can't tell if that's 85. I don't know if that's Bennett or Kazmarek. Luke isn't great here. He hangs in here, but his hand, he don't want to get this hand going a little quicker. His hand, he's checking on any games. That's why you drag that hand there. But 41 gets his hand inside here. But this is good feel by the tight end to put a little chip in here on him to take the seam off 41. And again, it's just enough because again, football's a game of inches. This pocket is perfect because of Trey Henderson. I mean, Trey, they should make a statue of that outside the Woody, being selfless, being a great teammate, being a captain. Donnie's out here surfing, doing a great job on 44, erasing him. But again, the ball's gone. I mean, by the time Donnie touches this guy, the ball's out. I mean, this is the thing about with Chip with this Max Pros. I mean, it's like sap 1, 2, gone. So this isn't some prolonged pass protection drill, and Will drops the dime right in the basket right here to JJ, and the poor 50 Shades of Gray guy is up the creek right there. But yeah, I mean, this is about as good as it gets, Nevada. I mean, I can't imagine what it was like in the Benz Dome when 50 Shades of Gray, Christian Gray right here gets cooked by JJ. And again, they put this kid on an island, which again, you got to do it because you're thinking run. So Marcus took a gamble and lost. But what are your thoughts on that play?
Well, I mean, you kind of marvel on how quickly Will got rid of the ball. I mean, Will got the ball. I mean, obviously it was one read. They were going to JJ the whole time. That was the call. He gets it and he throws it. And as I'm sitting in the stands, you can't see you see the whole field, but you don't see the whole field. And so all of a sudden you see a throw, and all of a sudden you look to where he's throwing it, and you see JJ with clearance. You know what I'm saying? And so now you're looking up at the ball, and you're hoping the ball is in a good trajectory to get to JJ, and it was perfect. I mean, it was absolutely perfect, and it just drops in there, and it was just the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, what a big that is an absolute NFL throw by Howard right there. That is a throw that you could take Aaron Rodgers, take Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, whomever, and they'll take that throw. That was a big time throw at the biggest time. And I know I've laughed about this before, but it will never not be funny to me. All the complaints about Will Howard not being a good deep ball thrower, and on the biggest play with the season on the national championship on the line, what play call was Ryan Day and Chip Kelly go with? The deep ball from Will Howard. That just will never not be funny to me. But what a perfect play. And like I said, you don't notice the stuff like Trey Henderson blocking or the stuff that's going on until after the game, and you see it and you're like, wow, that was obviously lots of ways for that to not happen and not be good, but it was perfect, and it was perfectly executed, and it paid off in a big way. To me, that's as big a play as any. I mean, I know the game wasn't exactly on the line, but it kind of felt that way at that point. You don't want to be punting at that point. I didn't want Notre Dame to have the ball with a chance to score. After we got the lead from them, Notre Dame never had the ball with a chance to tie the game, and I was my heart was surely glad that we completed that pass. We were able to kick that field goal and cover that spread. So go Ohio State all the way around.
Well, yeah, like in football, like if they get the ball back, any dumb thing can happen. I mean, we saw, versus Penn State when they had to come back. Penn State had their cornerback slip and fall, and then you had the safety misplayed, and they hit a bomb. So it's like, you don't want to give them a chance because like football's a game where the weirdest things can happen at the weirdest times. And, Notre Dame felt like they had some momentum there. And again, if Ryan Day would have ran the ball there and burned the clock and said, okay, let's put the number one defense on the field, I would have been fine with it. Because again, you're playing for overtime, but he had way bigger balls than I would have had. And he went for the win, and he trusted his quarterback, who, again, people and again, I don't understand the Will Howard stuff, because when people tell me he can't play in the NFL, can't throw the deep ball, he stinks, he's not very good, he makes mistakes, and he throws an interception. I'm like, so like every quarterback in the universe doesn't throw interceptions. Like, are you kidding me? I don't know. Like I said, I think he had the best season in the history of the program. Capped it with the national title. Obviously, I played with the Heisman Trophy winner. Love Troy. And again, if people want to argue for Troy, I can argue for Troy easy, but I was there. We didn't play anywhere near the schedule these guys just played. We didn't have to play, the number one Oregon twice and Texas, and we played Texas, but the rest of our schedule is pretty soft outside of that Michigan game and then Florida. What we just ran through it's crazy. Like I said, if they would have scored 2 points versus Oregon the first game, and we would have scored that versus Michigan, this is the best team in college football history. Like, it's like that close. So I don't know, but I had to show that, because like Trey, like I also watched that again. I didn't save the back angle or the side angle, but you watch the side angle of it, and I'll get that up maybe in the next day or two. You see the linebacker's head snap back from the violence of Trey in pass protection. And again, NFL teams that don't take this kid as the first running back are idiots. I mean, that's sincere. Like the kid from Boise, God bless him. He had double the workload, but like what Trey does in pass protection, I'd take him over the kid from Boise any day of the week. I don't care what his numbers are, because to me, numbers don't matter. Because when you're a selfless guy and you decide to split carries with Quinshon, you've got less tread on the tire. But even so, you can look at his pass protecting reps, and he's the best pass protector maybe we've ever had. So that's something.
That's impossible, because Trey Henderson's soft, man. I was told for years that he was soft. It's like
he has no vision. He's soft. And,
what a bad take that was. Oh my gosh!
When I saw him his freshman year, his first camp, I was like, I think he's going to be Saquon. I think he's like Saquon. I don't know. He's not going to draft as high. Saquon went second overall in the draft, but and he's not quite as big and physical as Saquon, but he's like a Diet Coke version of Saquon, I think. Like Saquon's a first ballot NFL Hall of Famer. But Trey's pretty close to that in my opinion. He's got the same explosion. If he goes to the right system, he should be a first or second round fantasy draft pick. If he goes to the Chiefs, he's a first round pick in fantasy next year. You take him over Pacheco. And again, I talked to an NFL personnel guy about that, and he said that'd be completely unfair if he went to the Chiefs. And I was like, well, that's where I'd take him at. I'd take him at the end of the first round. They'll win the Super Bowl again, pick him at 32, and put him next to Pat Mahomes. He's a top 10 pick in fantasy next year. We got a ton of super chats. We're going to dig through some of these right now. I'll save a little bit of foam for later. Larry Daniels, thank you for the 5. What are the odds we pick up a QB in the portal? I don't know. It just depends on who enters the portal. I don't think they're very high right now, because I think that they like Julian Sain. And, if you take a kid in the portal, you're probably going to lose Julian. So that's something I don't think that they're dying to do right now. What are your thoughts about it? The odds that we had a quarterback in the portal?
Yeah, look, everything we've heard from inside the program is they really like Julian Sain, and they've had a lot of time to watch him. If that changes, and if they start pursuing quarterbacks, then that Ryan's reached a different conclusion about that. But everything that we've heard about Julian is that Julian's going to be QB1 next year, and that they really like him and are excited about him. So we'll see, but that's what we've got.
RJ, sorry, appreciate you, my dude. Thanks for the 10. I got your plug in earlier, but I'll plug it again. So you guys, in your YouTube search bar, search for Ranjit Story, Pink Floyd piano cover artist, and make sure you give our guy a follow, like his video, watch his content. It's good music for the background. Talented dude. Nevada, how can coaches help Davidson Igbinosun reduce his holding penalties? Nevada OH. They put those like golf gloves on. They've got like those mitten things. They look like baking mitts where they put them on, and he's still got a couple. So I'm sure it drives, Uncle Tim nuts when he's, still yanking and grabbing, but it's just something you got to break. I mean, because you go to the NFL, man, you're going to get eaten alive. They'll throw it at you every single snap. But they put him in those Baker's, those mittens, and he's still doing it. So he's got to keep reinforcing it as best he can, because those penalties are killers, especially in the NFL. Like, that's a spot foul. You go yank a kid on a bomb, it's going to be a 70-yard penalty. So that kills you in the league. Nevada, your thoughts on how to get Davison to stop holding?
Well, I mean, his holding calls were literally responsible for 2 of the Penn State touchdowns, and they bailed him out on like a 3rd and 19 and other things that Penn State had no business even being in that game. But everything that I've heard from Ohio State, honestly, I'm not saying they encourage him to play that way, but they like his game. They like him being physical. They like the way he plays, and they're not yelling at him about that stuff. So it was kind of interesting how Walton was playing that. They liked his physicality. They didn't think that, they thought that obviously the second half of the season he was much better about it, but he kept Notre Dame in it with a lot of those grabs and holds and stuff, and it's something they got to get fixed up. But I just, it's been a weird one, because I have not gotten the sense from Ohio State that they were super unhappy with him about it, and they were willing to live with those penalties in return for the physicality that he was playing with.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you can't. I mean, you know what you're getting when you got him. He's going to be aggressive, and they're not going to call it every time. Now, if it's egregious, they will. But there's some that are pretty close that they were letting fly over the playoffs, so we're good. Bucks Forever 65. Thanks for the 5. Kirk, we need a championship meet and greet to celebrate this team. Nevada OH. I think it might be around the spring game. We'll probably do the B-Dubs one again at the spring game, just because that was really successful. In the comments, let me know. Are you guys going to the thing on Sunday? They got that celebration at noon. It's going to be like wicked cold. So I just don't know how many of you guys are rolling to it. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a big crowd, because this is the last time you're going to get to see these guys together. But that's like usually about an hour long, and there's a video montage, and the players talk and sing Carmen, Ohio, and whatever. So I don't know if you guys are rolling to that, but let me know in the comments, and we'll see what we can do. Dev, what is up? Ohio 7715. Shout out Kirk and Nevada. Appreciate all you do. Nevada is an awesome dude. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out Scoop Fam 2425 Natty Lock, Nevada OH.
And first let me go. I met Devin at
he told
Atlanta.
Me. I was talking to him today.
It was awesome. First, Devin's a great dude. I was only sad that Cujo wasn't there with him, but Devin was there in full effect, and we had a great time before the game, and great dude, and we're really blessed to have him as part of the Scoop family.
Yeah, Devin, he was gonna try to see Cujo. Could you imagine if Cujo got loose in the middle of the Benz Dome? You got a wild raccoon running around. That would have been great entertainment for the security guards. But yeah, it's funny, man. You're Mr. Popular, man. You're walking around, you're buying your dinner tabs and meeting you before the games, and
my South Carolina boys, they're so nice. Everybody's just like I said. I love the Scoop. I love our family here. I really, really do. These are great people. We are so lucky to have such a group of great people, and that's not everybody. So this podcast is not for everybody. Our website is not for everybody. We don't want everybody. We don't. We're not like, we don't want you. If you're dumb and reactionary, we don't want you. Don't listen. Go somewhere else. Listen to the podcast. It's so fun. But I love the people that we have on the site. I really do. And on this podcast, the people I've met have all just been absolutely first class, and I feel very lucky to be part of it.
No, it's incredible. Devin, I appreciate you, brother, as always. Make sure you guys follow the Buckeye Boys too. Buckeye and Boys with a Z. Like Boys in the Hood, the old movie from the early 90s. That's all Devin is. But Devin was ringing that credit card up, man. Cause I think he went to 3 or 4 of the games. I was like, geez, criminy, dude. Like, he went to the Rose Bowl, went to Texas, went here. I'm like, that is some traveling. That's some expense, man. My eyes hurt just looking at the prices, let alone actually swiping the card. So I appreciate you, my dude. You're the best. Chris Slusher, thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, my man. Letterman Rowe just posted a video blaming all Buckeye fans for trying to hang Ryan Day, and now all Buckeye fans want them on their shoulder. Not all fans are like that. Pissed me off. I don't even know who's still on Letterman Row anymore. I mean, the main guys left. So, I
Is
mean,
that
you know,
still
that's
is
just,
that is that site still there?
I think it is. I don't
That there
know.
must
I
be
mean,
there literally must be 4 people on that site. So like, man, if you went over there, you're part of the chosen. It'd be like wearing a members only jacket, being the last member. Like you're literally
the
like
last,
the last
the
person in
last,
Letterman Row. Please turn out the lights.
yeah. I mean, when those guys all left, man, it was like a barren wasteland. And so, but anyways, like I don't know. Like, I mean, do fans go a little too far? Of course. And that's why, like with Nevada and I, like we try to be stable. Like when we lose a game and everyone's ready to jump off a cliff, like I always like kind of come back to back when I was a player. You gotta remember, like I was part of some of the worst. That Florida lost one of the worst in history, and LSU, I was done, thank God. But like, you know, we lost some bad games. I was part of a team that lost 3 in a row in '04, 7 lost team in 11. So like, I remember what it was like to be in the Woody Hayes. I wasn't a media guy. I was a full-time coach working. So I remember what it was like and how you gotta, you know, everyone else can quit, but the players and coaches can't quit. They got to go figure it out, no matter how bad it is or how bad it seems or who's injured or whatever. So that's why I always try to be calm and rational. And like I tell people, like, even though we lost to Michigan, which is one of the worst losses in school history, obviously terrible loss at home, bad Michigan team, hadn't won a road game, whatever. Like we still had the best roster in the country. Like you couldn't convince me to have the best roster in the country. When I saw Will take that hit, then I found out he was hurt after. That really was like, okay, well, you know, I was really glad we didn't play the Big Ten title game because I don't want him 50% or whatever he was. You know, he had extra week to rest, get ready for Tennessee, and played lights out down the stretch. So I don't know, like, you know, I mean, Ryan has got a very tough job. I mean, not only is he at Ohio State, but he followed Jim Tressel, who won a national title, and he followed Urban Meyer, who won a national title. So until he won a national title, he was always going to be a step below. Didn't matter his winning percentage or how many times he beat Rutgers and, you know, and Purdue and whatever. All that people care about is winning. As soon as you win a national title, and that's why, again, I talked about Tress last night and missed a call from him today. I love Tress. And when they interviewed him after the game and, you know, Dobb asked him, hey, you know, he's won a national title. How's it change life? And Tress is like, oh, it doesn't change your life at all. I was like, and like I said, I love Tress. I couldn't disagree more because now that Ryan's got that ring, nobody can ever take that from him. It's a giant FU to all of his haters. And they can never say that he didn't do it because he did it. You know, he has that team that will forever be remembered as one of the greatest teams in college football history, let alone maybe the greatest team in Ohio State history. And it was his team. It was his players. It was his staff. Can't say he inherited anything because, you know, he's past 5 years now. I mean, he's been there since 19 as the head coach. So it's all him at this point. I mean, he fired a lot of people and, you know, changed out a quarter. He fired Kyle McCord, sent him to the shadow realm and brought it. It's all him. And he crushed it, you know? And again, I couldn't be happier for the guy. Cause again, I feel terrible that people are so dumb. And again, there are some vile human beings, and they claim they're Ohio State fans. If I could round them up and shoot them into the sun, I'd do it in a heartbeat, and I wouldn't think twice about it. I mean, I would send them to the gulags. Some of these people that are just completely, because like there's a line, and again, I get being upset and being angry and stomping around, but some of these guys went so far over the line and said some of the most heinous stuff ever to Ryan and his family or about Ryan, and I'm like, I mean, my God, guys, like, I mean, are you guys even humans? But again, it's fine, you know. And again, Ryan, you know, when you sign up for this thing, it is not for the faint of heart, and you make a lot of money. And again, when you make all that money, people think that you can just be bludgeoned to death and you won't feel it because you're laying on your big pile of $100 bills. But these are still people, you know, and they got to get security guards and pull RJ out of school, and it's terrible. But that's, you know, and again, like when there's like teachers saying stuff to RJ, like those teachers should be fired. If they're at DeSales or Olentangy or wherever RJ goes now, like those guys, they should all be fired. You know, and I'm not scared to say that. They should all lose their jobs. If you're saying something to a kid, like how big of a douchebag do you have to be as a teacher to insult a kid when his dad loses a football game? Come on, have some empathy, you morons. But I'm just happy for Ryan and Nina Day and the kids. And, you know, again, like we're always even, and again, we're critical of Ryan too. Like this isn't just all pillows and marshmallows the whole time, but we're very balanced. And again, that's why you guys like us, because we give you the facts, the straight stuff. And it's not always fun. It's not always easy, but that's what we do. And that's why we've been the number one Ohio State podcast. And we're breaking every record known to man because of what we do. And so again, not changing. Nevada, your thoughts on Letterman Row posting a video blaming all Buckeye fans for trying to hang Ryan Day?
Yeah, no, look, the only time, the reason that I ever like to bring up receipts or bring up comments about stuff is because I want people to, we like the show to be educational. We want people to be better for having listened to this show. We want you to be a better fan, a smarter fan, a more educated fan, a fan that knows exactly what's going on, so you can make kind of, as you said, fair and balanced kind of determinations. And I just, as we always say, if things are bad and it's a 5-alarm fire, we will be the first ones in the theater screaming fire. I promise you. But in the meantime, when you've got the best roster, when you've got the best defensive player in the country, the best offensive player in the country, best coordinators, it was pretty easy to counsel patience going into the playoff because somebody had to win it. Somebody had to run that impossible gauntlet. One team was going to run that impossible gauntlet and win it, and we had the best players. So it was really easy to pick Ohio State to do it because we were the best team. And so we did it. And now looking back on it, I mean, like I said, it was it was an impossible path, but we navigated it, did it in style. And as you said, Ryan Day now has scoreboard on everyone. There's nothing anybody can ever say to that guy forever and ever and ever and ever. He's a legend at Ohio State, and I love it for him.
Herschel, thanks for the deuce. The natty. How many more natties by 2035? And so happy Nevada. How many more natties in the next 10 years? You can make your call.
I would say the over-under on that is 2. I'm going to say 2. What says you?
So
you bet the over?
I'd say we get 3. Because I think with Ryan being 45 and with Chip Kelly, being kind of locked in as the OC, Chip's weird because I think he's the best, maybe the best offensive mind in the history of football. And, he's up there with the, in terms of changing the game and the stuff that he does, he's up there with the Bill Walshes and the Paul Browns. Like in terms of offensive football, he's elite. But, does he want to deal with it? Is he a great politician where he has to go around and, fundraise and go golf? And, I feel like he's kind of over that stuff, and he's made enough money where he doesn't care. I mean, he's made money with the Eagles and the 49ers and got fired a couple times, got to collect all that money. So, as long as Chip's here, I feel really good about the offensive side of the ball. Jim Knowles, like again, with the Oklahoma stuff, I don't know. I mean, I hope that he stays. Obviously, everyone hopes that he stays because he was fantastic, and we'll see. Like I said, I mean, he could have stamped it out real quick, but he didn't. And again, these guys are only as faithful as their options, but whatever. Like I said, it's something where I would promote our safeties coach Matt Greene to be our new DC because he's really good. I think he'll be a head coach probably within 5 years or less. So he's a guy that I'd immediately promote to DC. But I like the youth of our head coach. I like the position of our NIL budget. I like that we're the hot team right now. When you get your Manhattan Beach guy to give you your Nike Now ratings like that, I can't imagine there's going to be anybody hotter than Ohio State. Especially because we have these guys like JJ. JJ is a generational guy, and he's the guy that every young 12-year-old receiver wants to be JJ. The young kids all over the country, Miami, Columbus, California, they see that guy and that's who they want to emulate. That's who's going to be a 99 on the video game. And again, this will sound really stupid, but we'll be the number 1 team on the video game next year. So a lot of these young kids are going to be using the Buckeyes on the NCAA football game. And some of them, they fall in love with the team because, they play with them and every game is in the stadium and they hear the fight song and they're throwing the ball to JJ. And so again, that sounds like the dumbest thing of all time, but I've heard that. I've heard kids say, hey, I used to play as Terrell Pryor in the game or Braxton. And that's what I used to love when we'd have the athletic quarterbacks because people would always pick the fastest quarterbacks in the game. And for a bunch of years in a row, we had that guy. So they'd play as Ohio State. And yeah, that's how they became my team. And I've rooted for them ever since. And then I became a good player and they offered me a scholarship. And I know that sounds crazy, but I've had kids literally say that to me. And I'm just like, that's amazing. So, and again, and we're always good. I mean, we're the only program that's been really good for 20, 25-ish years. Outside of, 3 or 4 years. I mean, it's an incredible run that we've been on. So, I like that number, in my opinion. So appreciate you, Herschel. Hope you had a good night. Luke Pinchini, thanks for the 50, brother. I appreciate you paying it forward. Thanks for being on here. Hey guys, recently joined Buckeye Scoop. Big fan of the podcast. Well, I appreciate that. Again, if you guys want something fun to do it's literally $12.99 a month, which is, we haven't raised the price. Everything else in the entire world has gone up in price except for our website. So we keep the prices low. We add a lot of value, and we're on that thing constantly. You want to talk about being on your phone and being on the message board, the greatest companion in the world. And it's just such a great crowd. And you'd be stunned at some of the people that belong. We have people that have NFL Hall of Fame gold jackets, multiple that subscribe to the site. We've got people, Ohio State Board of Trustees members. We've got big time people that belong to the site, proud of the site. And again, we appreciate all those guys. Great people across the entire country, across the world, belong to BuckeyeScoop.com. And we're proud of our membership, and we run a very tight ship. There's no incendiary, there's no stupidity, high level discussion, great people. And we're really proud of that. So we appreciate you joining in, my friend. Now that it's the off season, I had a question on how important film actually is for preparing for a game. For example, could Ohio State beat Iowa without the players watching any film at all? Well, the players might not watch it, but the coaches have to, because they have to make the plan. I'd be lying. Certainly I've played with players that didn't watch any film or didn't watch much film. I think it's stupid to not watch film. I used to love watching film, and now with the way that they've got it on their iPads, I can't imagine how much more film I would have watched now that I could watch it on my iPad. With the big key is being able to rewind it, and that's why when you have the good film apps, you can rewind it quick. Because when I rewind it a lot, that's how you watch film as a football player. It's not just let the play through like you're watching it on TV on Sunday Night Football, where they just let the play just run and they don't replay it, and you kind of watch everything and rewind it back and forth a bunch of times. But so you could beat teams without watching. But it's like, could you win a hand of poker without looking at your cards? Yeah, you could. You say, okay, I'm just gonna keep my cards on the ground and I'm gonna bet and hope that I got dealt something good and see how it goes. But it'd be stupid. Because again, if you look at your cards and you fold, or you throw your cards back and you get what you need, you're gonna have a lot higher odds, obviously, of winning the hand, as opposed to just keeping it on the ground and saying, I'm all in and pray to God that I got something good enough to beat my opponent. So that's kind of what it's like, because you can pick up so much when you watch film, pick up tendencies about blitzes, and look at I'd always look at the safeties. I'd always teach the kids, look at the safeties. The safeties tell you everything. What's the coverage going to be? Where's the blitz coming from? So if you don't study that, then you're just kind of a jamoke, but it's my opinion. Nevada, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Could Ohio State beat out Iowa without watching film? And I'm sure that I had teammates that didn't watch film, especially back in the day. But again, I think it's just kind of stupid. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think in 2024, just about all of them watch film. Could you win? Sure, but I think your poker analogy is a great one. I think everybody watches it because it's so easy, and it shows you so much, so you get a lot out of it.
Yeah, and plus, it's for me, the biggest thing I like to watch, because again, when you're an offensive tackle, the most important thing in the world is not give up sacks. As much as run blocking is kind of run blocking, and you got to pick the blitzes up. Not giving up sacks. When you give up a sack, man, it's like your whole day is, even if you win the game, when you give up a sack, or because a sack can be a catastrophe. You look at the right tackle from Texas gives up the sack where Quinn Ewers gets hit, fumbles it, they run it back for a touchdown. That's a play that he'll be remembered for the rest of his life, when Jack Sawyer beat him clean and beat him around the edge. And so, again, I would have studied Jack's moves, and I'd always watch 3rd and 6 to 20, because I'd want to see what their best moves are. Because if it's 3rd and medium to 3rd and long, those D linemen are going to hit their best pass rush move. So that's what I always study, because I don't want to know. And I don't want to know, do they have a spin move? Because most guys can't spin well, but if they could, that's something you got to be ready for. So I'd always study that, because most guys don't have a ton of moves, but if they've got a signature move that's good and it leads to a lot of pressures and sacks. Like, you better know how to stop it and be ready for it. Drew Doves to the Prophet, thanks for the deuce. Thanks, Nevadabuck and Kirk, for the shout out. Of course, again, anything we can do to help you out. Again, we've got a lot of people that sell cars. I worked at Reichert in commercial fleet. It's a great gig, great company. Rick Reichert's a dear friend of mine. But if people are looking to buy something, then just hit up Drew. He's on here. He's easy to find on Facebook and I'm sure LinkedIn. So hit up Drew. And again, it's super easy to help people out, because if you're gonna buy something, you might as well buy it from someone who is part of the Scoop family. I mean, because we have people that do basically every single job known to man, and we actually just picked up a new sponsor that's a HVAC company, a big HVAC company called 5 Star Heating and Cooling. They're going to be one of our title sponsors now, so really excited about that. So if you got to get your furnaces checked, your air conditioner checked, like, look those guys up. They're humongous in Columbus, and excellent people. Schaefer Healthcare, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, brother. What are you hearing in terms of Knowles to OU? Some sources are reporting a mutual interest. We need to give him a big raise and keep him locked in. Go Bucks. Nevada, I'll let you talk about your boy first.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've talked to basically his agent and a family member, and they both say no. So, as I said in the board, could they either be lying? Could they not know? Could Knowles change his mind? Yeah, those are all absolutely live possibilities. I'm not saying this is the final word on it, but they're saying no. So, we'll see. There's an awful lot of smoke about it, a lot of people talking about it. But does it make sense to me that he would go? Nothing about going to Oklahoma makes sense to me. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Defensive coach, coach is frankly going to be on the firing line here shortly. Probably going to get gassed here in the next 12 months. Does Jim really want to put himself in that situation? It doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. Bad team in the SEC. None of it makes sense, because it's not like he's going to go there and get a raise from what at Ohio State, basically, he could name his price. He could go to Ohio State with any offer, and Ohio State's going to match it. So it can't be about money. And, there's a thing about his fiance wants to live in Oklahoma, which, if that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, considering the fact that you're going to marry a football coach. Marrying a football coach and saying I'm wedded to one state seems somewhat limiting. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. So I'm taking the totality of what makes sense with the firsthand information I've gotten from people close to Jim, and I'm saying I'm not buying it. But I'm also, and I'm not trying to hedge. I'm just saying you never say never. If I've learned anything in this business, could it happen? Sure. I mean, who would have thought that Bill O'Brien would accept the job? Because Ryan initially went to Chip Kelly, and Chip Kelly goes, "No, I can't do it. I cannot do it." So he went to Bill O'Brien, got Bill O'Brien. Then Bill O'Brien bolts to Boston College. In the meantime, Chip has a falling out with UCLA, and Chip calls back and goes, "Hey, now I'm ready to do it." And so it happened. So things can change, and but I would expect to see Knowles prowling around the sideline. He's got Caleb Downs coming back. He's got a lot of great players back in defense. I have a hard time believing he'd leave, but we'll see.
I just don't know why you'd leave to go to a bad SEC job. I mean, like Oklahoma, Brent Venables is up the creek right now. And I mean, that's not an ascending program, in my opinion. Now, he could turn it around, but dude, to go work for the best offensive wizard in the world in Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, like that consortium on that side. And then you have full autonomy on the right, on your side of the hallway as a defensive coordinator. And not to mention you, Caleb Downs and Caden McDonald and Sonny Styles and Jermaine Matthews Jr. And you've got, the cupboard isn't bare. I mean, it's way more full than it is at Oklahoma, and the schedule's easier. It's not much easier, but it's easier than the SEC in general. I know the Big Ten was better this year, but in the SEC, man, you gotta go play LSU, Ole Miss, Bama. You're not going to out-athlete teams like Ohio State out-athletes. We out-athlete everybody in the Big Ten. You're not going to do that at Oklahoma. So I don't know. Like, Love is amazing, but so are Delta Skyline points. I mean, I say, like, we'll fly your old lady out every weekend, and she can eat vegan tofu souffles with you and drink cruelty-free vegan grass-fed coffee and have yourselves a time. But That's just what I would do. Nick Ma, thank you for the 5. It is not the off season; it is the preparation season. See you at the combine. Watch. Yeah, the combine. I don't know how interested I'm going to be in the combine this year because I don't know how many of the Ohio State guys are going to do anything. So I'll pay attention to it. Obviously, with the Browns picking second overall, people are going to be interested to see how Shador and Travis Hunter do. The two most likely picks at that spot. Maybe Abdul Carter if they want to get super freaky and have him and Myles Garrett, that's what I'd do. Have the best edge combo ever. Yeah, there really is no offseason. I mean, those guys at the Woody Hayes are not on an offseason. That's what's hard. That's why I say college football is the hardest sport in the world. Like all these other schools are starting their workouts right now. Like you see a lot of the early enrollees like Malachi, Tony, and some of these guys that went to Miami, those guys are in winter workouts. They're pushing sleds and doing all the stuff that you need to do to get ready for the season. And our guys just finished the season. So they got to recover and, but you got to balance that. And again, Ryan's biggest task this season, the hardest part about the season is you have to beat into the heads of some of these young guys that they didn't do anything to actually win this national title. They got to go on the parade float. They get to be on the stage. They get to get the t-shirt, smoke the cigars, party. But most of them didn't do anything. The guys that did the heavy lifting are going to be off to the NFL. The Jack Sawyers and JTs and Donnie Jackson. And again, there are underclassmen like our interior offensive line. Excellent work. But running back room, basically nothing. Receivers are back, obviously huge. But we're going to lose probably 80% of our production. And we got to get these guys off the parade circuit and get them back locked into to repeat because people are going to be gunning for us. And again, the beauty of Ryan's life, the beauty and the beast is the fact that we open with Texas, who's probably, if we're not preseason 1, they're going to be preseason 1. So the first game of the season is going to be a night game in the shoe, 1 versus 2, Julian Sane versus Arch Manning. So I mean, that's going to be, if Ryan doesn't get to open up with Akron, at noon kickoff, sleepy, he gets prime time game, back to back games of the year, of the weekend. That's a record that we're definitely going to set, is that from Tennessee to Oregon to Texas to Notre Dame to Texas again, we've literally been the game of the week for what'll be 5 straight weeks if you count the end of the season and then the beginning of next season, which is insane. But that's where we are. And really, if you count the regular season, you go back to Michigan and Indiana too. So it's like 7 straight weeks we've been the game of the week, which is nutty. Josh Dillon, thanks for the deuce. What percentage you put on Quinshawn coming back and being RB1? I'd put that at about 5% right now. And I'm just giving myself some leeway, but I think he's gone. I think that, a lot of wear and tear at Mississippi, won the big game, had a huge game. I think he could improve his stock, but it could be slightly, and he'd add another year on his tread on the tires. And, I thought that he had a more productive junior season than Trey Henderson did. So he's probably going to go. Now, he hit a wall hard in the middle of the season where he wasn't as good, but he finished strong, especially in the last game. So I think he's gone. And again, I think that when you have James Peoples and you go get Donald, like going and getting Donaldson kind of told me that they think that Trey's gone, or Quinshawn's gone, excuse me. That's why they went. Because, if Quinshawn was committed to coming back, or they had kind of the inkling that he would be coming back, they probably wouldn't have gone after Donaldson. They would have gone with Quinshawn and James Peoples, because James Peoples will be ready to go next year. But I think that they think he's gone. Nevada, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I'll set my line at 5.5%. So I'm slightly more optimistic than you, but yeah, that would definitely be in the longest of long shots category right now.
Yeah, I agree. D Sunny, thank you for the 5. On O State's first drive, the defender had JJ wrapped up. JJ took a 2-foot hop for the first down. He does so many small things that adds. I think it's the one where he had that great hands catch where he got it kind of out in the frame and he just kind of drug the poor hapless corpse over the first down line. I mean, JJ is a guy that you better just enjoy every second that we have of him, because he might be the best player in school history by the time we're done. He's already the best player. And how he didn't win 2 different Freshman of the Year awards, especially the one was just for offense. One was like, he didn't even win just the flat offensive. They gave it to the guy from South Carolina. I'd fire our SID tonight so that you could get some promotion on these guys, because you were going to look back and say, how on earth is Will Howard 3rd team All Big Ten? He's had the greatest season in Ohio State history as a quarterback, and 3rd team All Big Ten. Sorry for playing. We'll give it to the kid from Indiana. Give me a break. After Will beat him, which is even better. Nevada, your thoughts on JJ?
Yeah, I mean, amazing, amazing play. I just, yeah, I talk about things that'll never not be funny to me. It'll never not be funny to me that his first pass attempt or the first ball thrown in Ohio State dropped. Remember that one, that wide receiver screen that he
Oh,
probably
yeah, the
would have
tunnel screen.
housed.
Yeah.
You know, so he starts with a drop, and now after you've seen a full season of him, 16 games, he never drops the ball, like, ever. And
No.
so funny that it started with that, and it ends with that bomb and toasting that defensive back for Notre Dame. Play that will ever stay in my mind for sure.
Yeah. Herschel, thanks for the deuce, boys. Triple my betting account because of you guys. Nevada OH.
I
Tailing the Buckeyes is never a bad idea, ever. And they're cooking right now. You don't get great odds on the money line, but you bet the money line, you're going to win a lot of money. They just win so often. Let's see.
Well,
Chris,
let me say one more thing on that. If you really want to make money, if you're a gambler and you really like making money, this is free too. We're gonna give this to you for free. Dagestan Poppy, DAGESTAN PAPI, puts out all his picks. If you want his picks early in the week, so you get the better odds, charges a nominal fee, but it puts out all his picks an hour before every fight card. If you like to bet MMA, follow Dagestan Poppy. Track record, last 1,000 bets, 12% ROI, which is just, that's legendary, guys. That's in the best years of Billy Walters. He wasn't running 12% ROI. So you've got a chance right now to do it. And he's like the official handicapper of BuckeyeScoop.com. We love him. He gives us picks, and we all make a lot of money. So if you really want to make money gambling, follow Dagestan Poppy, tail him, and you'll make money betting MMA for sure.
he is a monster. Chris Slusher, thanks for the 5. Letterman Rowe posted it on YouTube, came up my feed. I don't follow those idiots. I'm a stupid. No, I didn't think you followed them. I mean, obviously, I don't. They used to be pretty decent, and I just don't know who's there. I literally don't know who's there anymore. So that's really interesting. I'm sure they'll get some free hits off of us because people will want to see what the craziness was. But it's all good, Chris. You're Scoop family, dog. Don't worry about it. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being on here as well. Tom Gombar, thanks for the 5. They said on Urban Meyer's podcast that Ohio State merchandise is up 500%. Much different than the Scum store going bankrupt last year in that OH. Well, that's what we said.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if there's ever time to own Buckeye Corners right now, I mean, people were going to Dick's Sporting Goods at midnight because they already had the shirts out for after we won. Like, people were going to the Dick's Sporting Goods were opening up late because everybody wants that T-shirt that they have on the field. They want the hat, the shirt, and then they got the hoodies and garden gnomes and every other thing and anything in the world that you can slap that logo on of the national championship. I mean, people are buying it. It doesn't matter. So it is what it is, man. That's why.
And let me say on that, if you want to buy gear, you can go. It's in our bio, but it's also, you go to BuckeyeScoop.com. On the left side of this thing, it says Scoop Fanatic Store. Click on that. That takes you right into all the Ohio State, all the Nike stuff, all the locker room stuff, all the best merchandise, and all of the net proceeds that we get. They give us a little bit, goes to pay it forward. So you can do good, win-win. BuckeyeScoop.com. Scoop Fanatic Store, get all the best gear. Whatever you don't buy from stupid Barstool too. Whatever you do not buy from Barstool.
Don't buy any of their stuff.
Don't buy any of their stuff, man.
Oh.
Do not buy from Barstool. Those guys are idiots. They're owned by Portnoy, Michigan guy. Do you really want to support me? That's like that stupid 1870 Foundation or what it was going, let's do a fundraiser that supports Michigan athletics. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So you buying from Barstool is like supporting Michigan athletics. Don't do it. Don't buy. I'd like you to buy from us, but if you don't buy from us, buy from anybody, but don't buy from Barstool, whatever you do. End of rant.
And again, it's just our Fanatics link, and it goes to pay it forward, just like the super chats do. So again, it's super easy. You click the link and you go to the same Fanatics store you go to if you type in fanatics.com, but we get a credit for it. So again, we appreciate you guys patronizing us, and it's literally, you pay the same price. Everything's the same. So, but I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm going to pick up a hoodie because I love their hoodies. Jeff Perry, thanks for the 5. What is the timeline for the cheating scum to see some punishment? Go Bucks, Nevada OH.
Any
thoughts, Nevada?
I mean, the timing should. I mean, the timing's going to be. You got 60 days for the NCAA to respond to their response, and then probably 90 days for there to be go to final hearing. So I'd say probably say in the next 6 months, unless there's a negotiated settlement. So I'd say within 6 months. I'd probably say by July, August, we'll see, final resolution on this. I mean, that if that it shouldn't be much longer than that, but I think we'll have a lot better handle on what's going on as stuff starts getting published and everybody gets to see stuff. And as you said, I say it every time, but I'll repeat it again. You're all going to get a chance to read this. So you're all going to. This is not take Kirk's word for it. Take Nevadabuck's word for it. You're all going to get a chance to read the notice of allegations, and then you can make up your own mind. Where, wow, was this serious, or was this just Nevada making up a big story about the hammer? You guys can be the judge, and you know where to find Kirk and I when that stuff's published, because you're going to get a chance to read all of it.
Poohbeard12, thank you for being an Ultra member. Thank you for the 10. Will Howard had the highest completion percentage in championship game history, BCS or college football playoff. The only regret I have about him is that we only had him for 1 year. If we had him for 2 years of Day and Chip, he'd win the Heisman. Could not agree more. If we had him for this, I mean, could you imagine? Because again, with Troy, Troy's my boy, my favorite Buckeye of all time. It really helped that we smashed Notre Dame, and he had that huge game, 612 yards, and threw those deep shots to Troy, or excuse me, to San Antonio, and the way he ran that offense down the stretch in 05 was magnificent. So that really kind of catapulted him to the front of preseason All-American, preseason Heisman favorite, et cetera, et cetera. And then we did our part and we won all the games. Again, that's the thing about, the Michigan game is so critical now, because if you lose that one, it cost CJ Stroud the Heisman, I feel like. And I don't think it cost Will, because, again, there was Deion. The thing about Deion, as much as people, want to bag on him, he is a mastermind when it comes to marketing. So he masterminded Travis Hunter, and Travis, obviously amazing both ways, whatever. But like, is he really the most valuable player in the, when they go to the Alamo Bowl and get shellacked by BYU and they don't really play any meaningful games? I don't know. I mean, amazing player, great season, but were they even a factor ever in anything? Not really. So I don't know. I mean, I take Will Howard. I mean, look at the impact Will Howard had on Ohio State in his 1 year versus what Travis Hunter did. I think it's not even close who's more valuable. It's my opinion. Nevada, your thoughts on if we had a second year and Will, if you would have won the Heisman this next year?
Not unless they fire Jerry Emig, until we get a new SID.
That's
I
the
don't.
truth. Yeah,
we're not going to get a Heisman winner, because our SID sucks, and but Will's great. Will's got something. I'm not saying it's better than a Heisman, but if you give me a choice between Heisman, no national championship, and national championship, it's an easy one for me. Give me that national championship all day long. I've seen him and Jack Sawyer doing their Raising Cane stuff and handing out food there and working the drive-through window and people going nuts. I'm so happy with it. Couldn't happen to better kids. And Will Howard is just the best kid. He is the best. He is everything you want in a representative of Ohio State. And I know he's only been here 1 year, but he gets it, man. He gets it, and he led this team from the front. Didn't lead it from the back. Wasn't some, national championship game 7 for 21 type of thing. He was like spot on when you needed him. When he needed the biggest play, they went right on his back, and he was clutch, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Well, yeah, and to me, like, the national championship is way more important than the Heisman, because, you look at how people view Cardale, who had his run and did great, and I love Dale. I mean, Cardale knows how. I worked at the building when Cardale was there, and Cardale was always an adventure, and I was really happy when he did everything that he did and everything he's doing now. But like, he gets a different look and a different feel from the fan base than Troy does, and I don't think it's fair. But and Troy won the Heisman. Troy was a far superior player to Cardale, but because we lost the national championship instead of winning the national championship, there's that that shift, and again, that's not fair to Troy at all. I mean, I hate that I was a part of a team that hurt Troy's reputation as what I thought was the best, or the best quarterback ever to play at Ohio State. But when you win that natty, I mean, Will Howard is going to be forever amongst, it's like Craig. I mean, Craig Krenzel, won the national championship, good player, didn't win any major awards, had a moderate to below average NFL career, has done fantastic post NFL, with what he does in Columbus now with his insurance agency. But I mean, he's revered. I mean, he's a guy because he was the guy that broke the 30-year streak and beat the Hurricanes. And, again, when you've got a streak that's that long and you break that, and after a 7-5 season the year prior, like people, you're God tier forever. And that's what Craig is. And that's what Cardell is. And winning that natty, man, it puts you like Jack Sawyer, no matter what, everything that Joey and Nick Bosa or Joey Bosa won, Chase Young won, Jack Sawyer will forever be remembered, I think, more fonder than the Bosas or Chase, because he got the big ring, because again, people don't go buy sweatshirts when you beat Michigan. They don't go buy sweatshirts when you win the Big Ten, or when you win the Lombardi Award or the Outland Award or the Ted Hendricks defensive end. But when you win the natty and you give people that moment of sheer, like, unadulterated joy that comes when the clock hits 0 in the game, then people always remember that feeling. And every time they see Jack Sawyer, they're going to remember he's the guy that made the play versus Texas. He's the guy that got everybody to come back. He's the guy that played really hard and shut down Notre Dame with that defense. And and same with Will Howard's the guy that made that throw that iced the game, cold as Kobe Bryant, cold as ice out there, throwing that bomb to JJ. And I mean, if he sails that, or if he throws it short or doesn't get completed, then you get, I don't say Ryan gets vilified, but I mean, you stop the clock, which Notre Dame didn't have many. I don't know if they had a timeout left or what, but I mean, you could that's a ballsy call. I mean, you're hoping your two best players on the team make a play, and they did, and the rest is history. National champions. Russ Stollard, thanks for the 5. How about the lady trying to hurt Day and players on the golf cart ride? I don't know if she was trying to hurt him, but I mean, I feel bad for this chick because nobody even knew she existed. But she, this post game thing that I'm sure you guys have all seen, where she takes this cart into the wall. She backs up and hits forward, and she's trying to get right into the media podium and crashes right into the wall. And I mean that thing's probably totaled, because she guns it and hits the wall, and then she tries to back up, and the wheel's probably sideways. You can't see it. And Ryan's sitting there, and he's like, God bless, can I please just get a beer? Cop tries to move it. And like I've said, she hit that wall, like gunned it. And you see the bumpers hanging there. So Will Howard's just dying laughing, being a good sport. He just got done playing in a football game where he probably felt like he was in a car wreck. And then Ryan Day is like, damn it, can you please just let me go get a beer? So, he just won the national title, and he's got to go do his media stuff, but he's just, I don't know. But yeah, this girl is just like, boom, like guns it. And Ryan said, there's like, God, he's like, Ryan's like, after all I've been through, you're going to put this damn golf cart into the wall. And like, Ryan cannot wait to crack a beer. He just won the biggest game of his life. He gave a double middle finger like Stone Cold to all of his haters forever. And then he's got to get on this golf cart with this chick, and she backs up and slams into the wall. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, right. It's like, I just wish that, like, that someone could have been standing there and just said, here, Ryan, here's the beer that you need, right, my dude. Like, just throw it to him like Stone Cold and catch it. And he probably would have smacked him open and dumped it on his head after the year that he's had and the way that it ended. But yeah, Nevada, your thoughts on the golf cart ride? Because that was pretty funny.
No, it reminded me. There's a scene. This is probably some obscure scene, but for the movie, Austin Powers movie Goldmember.
Yeah, where they keep backing up back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. We don't have to like shift it down to reverse. Like,
back and
oh yeah,
God. Good times, man. Good times.
I love it. Sergio, what's up, brother? Sergio Sama, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you as always being on here. Thanks, my friend. Just made it back from ATL. It was awesome. Great memory. Great work, Kirk in Nevada. Appreciate you, my man. And the Steelers should draft Will Howard. He's a winner. A lot of teams should draft Will Howard. I think that he's going to be the steal of the draft wherever he ends up, because he's got the it factor. Like, I just don't know how, when you talk about you can't go broke taking a profit, like that's the definition of drafting Will Howard. You're never going to regret taking a kid who just won the national championship, who's got elite talent and skills and competitive and smart. And, again, I can't understate the fact that he left a program that he was at for 4 seasons and had to go to a totally different conference, totally different state, totally different coaching staff, totally different players. And he rolls in here and he becomes the unquestioned leader of a team full of leaders. This isn't a team that was, a young team devoid of leadership. They had maybe the best leadership in school history in terms of what was returning, super, super veteran senior team. And he becomes the alpha of the alphas. So again, I know people can overthink, people want Shador and all these other idiots. And I'm like, I'm taking Will Howard, and plus the draft capital won't be anywhere near as high, which again, that matters too. Nevada, your thoughts on the Steelers drafting Will Howard?
I mean, that'd be a very Steeler thing to do because Steelers are smart. I don't like.
They really are.
I'm a Browns fan, so I grew up hating the Steelers more than anything in the world. Maybe other than Michigan, I hated them more. But I mean, those Browns Steelers games used to be genuine wars. And
Yeah.
but I mean, I love the way that they approach the draft. I love Tomlin. I love the way they just do their business, man. I have a lot of respect for him. And he'd be. I mean, obviously with Big Ben, he'd be he's a big, sturdy guy. But man, he can run, and he didn't really show it as much, but showed it that last game. Man, he was showing he had changed his cleats, a little bit more nimble, rumbled for some big first downs. So you've got the mobility, you've got the size, you've got the arm, you've got the character, you've got you've got the intellect. I don't understand. If J.J. McCarthy can be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, you cannot convince me this guy can't be a first round pick. I feel like there's something that I'm completely missing about football, and that everything I know is a lie if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my God, Donnie, thanks for the deuce. Someone said 23 Michigan beats this OSU team. There's no way. They don't have the offense. I mean, with our rush defense, there's just no way. They're too one-dimensional, and they can't guard JJ. They could guard JJ, and plus, they don't get to see Kyle McCord. They get to see a real quarterback in Will and Chip Kelly. So I don't know. There's no way to me. Taryn Lester, thanks for the deuce. Thoughts on the Cardinal Tate rumors? Texas game is at noon, FYI. Is that announced? Is that official? It's going to be the big noon? Because that would suck. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it is.
I think that's a Fox game, so I would bet anything that's going to be big. You wait a second. Now stop with you stop with the sign and your Mr. Noon game. You are Kirk Mr. Noon Barton. You know that. You own that, dude. You're like, I love the noon games. The noon games are the greatest games, and I can get home and eat and get to bed by 7:30. You know that. You're never going to escape that.
You mean podcasts at 7? Get to bed. Shit. These guys know better than that. Podcast for 4 hours. Literally, we're podcasting for 4 hours, baby.
Unless I'm hiding, I'll be hiding under the bridge.
You'll hide under the bridge. You'll hide in the oven, and Adriatico is just laying across the oven. They won't find me in here,
dude.
Where's Nevada hiding at?
How about this? I'm doing this next year. Next year for the Texas game, I'm coming and I'm staying at Casa de Barton, and then I'll just podcast with you. We'll be together. What do you think about that?
That'll be great.
Best day ever.
Screen. Best day ever.
Best day ever.
Because you know why? Because if you're in my house, guess what? You're not hiding like you always do. You're always hiding. Where is Nevadabuck hiding at? He's hiding somewhere. I was like, I think he's walking under a bridge. He's walking to Indianola from the stadium, man. He might freeze to death and die. I mean, God, that's a long walk.
I was carrying a kid too. I had a kid with a bum ankle. I was carrying him. It was like I was like Forrest Gump, man, carrying him out there.
Bubba, I carried Bubba. Well, I mean, I picked you guys up and drove to the game, and I was like, God, this is a long drive.
Yeah, we walked. We walked back.
I ain't doing that. There ain't no way.
It was a very pleasant walk there. Everybody was really in a good mood, very happy and something very upbeat. We were like floating.
Losing to Michigan, walking back.
Oh God!
None of Michigan's fans thought they were going to win. That's why there were 35 Michigan fans out of the 105,000 people in that. I mean, I've never seen less blue in that stadium for that game, but They had a good day. Taryn
Good
Lester,
times.
thoughts on the Cardinal Tate rumors? The Texas game's at noon. I appreciate you, Taryn, for straightening me out on that. I don't know. Rumors are rumors. And, I think some of this is kind of, the same with the Knowles rumors where it's like, well, how much money are we going to come with? Because, you got to pay all these guys now. And if you pay one of them, you pay Ennis or you pay Tate, you got to JJ. Like, JJ should make more than anybody. But, Ennis and Tate are probably going to want the same amount of money and they're best friends. They got the same agent. So this is welcome to the new world. But do I think Cardinal's going to go anywhere? I don't think so. But again, I also, we have JJ. So anything after JJ is just gravy at this point. But Cardinal's a great kid, and he does need to get paid. Anything to add on that, Nevada?
No, just look. I mean, he could leave. He could not. I mean, it's not like this is sneaking up on Ohio. It's not like Ohio State's not aware of the issue, on the case. And frankly, I mean, for me, that would be the height of stupidity for Cornell to leave because, the rumors are that he wants to leave because he wants to be the number one wide receiver somewhere. And my response would be, why in the world would you want to be the number one wide receiver when you could be the number two with JJ is getting all the coverage and you can get the ball? And it's not like, oh wow, Chris Olave really, resents the fact that he was playing with Garrett Wilson at Ohio State. No, I think it's worked out. I think there's enough ball for multiple players, and you can certainly make a lot of money in the NFL if you're the number two at Ohio State behind J.J. Smith. But hey, we'll whatever it is, we're going to be fine. I have zero concerns about this.
We will survive. Luke, Panici, thanks for the 5. What do you think of Marv's reaction? Was just winning the Natty, obviously making a lot of money in the NFL, but maybe some regrets for not coming back. Well, I think Marvin's fine. I think about guys like Brian Williams. Like Brian Williams declared for the draft last year and didn't get picked and didn't do anything. So I mean, he declared for the draft and he wasn't even at a rookie minicamp, which is about as bad of a misfire as you could ever do. Again, I stayed for my last year because I wanted to make sure that I could absolutely maximize myself. Some of these kids that jump just get terrible advice or they get caught up in the hype or they get just really stupid people telling them what to do because he shouldn't have left. Now, he would have been our 3 or 4 running back, but at least he'd have been on the team and been a national champion. So Marvin's fine. I mean, Marvin was always kind of in his own little world. Good Buckeye and everything, but it was, he was always kind of whatever. And, he was a top 5 pick, so you can't be mad about that. He did great and made a ton of money, but you never want to miss a national championship because you make all the money in the world, but winning a natty is something that you have forever, and it kind of cements you in a different. It makes your legacy different when you win the national title, and this is coming from the guy that lost 2 national titles. So again, that was always our goal. We fell short, but I'm happy for these guys that they didn't have to go through the trash that I went through losing it. So, like I said, I can't be happier for a guy like Jack Sawyer and Will Howard and Trey Henderson, Emeka. JT, Tyleek, those guys all earned it, and I'm just happy for them. Iowa Buck, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. Still smelling for Monday, wearing my gear around Iowa, feeling like a boss. I'm going to be insufferable for several months around here. Go Bucks. Well, make sure you let all of the Hawkeyes and the Iowa State crew, let them all know that you are a Buckeye and that we are number 1. And that's honestly the best part about winning it. I know all you guys like to go on vacation for spring break. You guys all go to, Myrtle Beach or Vegas or Florida or whatever, and you get to wear your Buckeye gear everywhere, and nobody can say a word to you. And if Michigan people try to say something, say, you guys are stupid. We've got a more recent national title than you, so you guys are now revoked and irrelevant. So make sure you rub it in as much as possible because in a year, if we don't repeat, someone else is going to be the title holder. So enjoy this year. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, but the best thing about this was we have scoreboard on Michigan now, and it's like that. What can they say? Oh, we beat you. Oh, we won the national championship. Shut up. Go back to your hole, guys. And your national title is going to get revoked anyway. So, yeah, I haven't stopped smiling since the Will Howard pass to JJ when I knew at that point I knew we had won the game. And I'm not going to stop smiling for quite some time. So, yeah, love it.
Poohbeard 12, thank you for the deuce. Golf cart lady just got a job offer in Georgia. I love you, Poohbeard. You're the absolute best, man. Yeah, if she was drinking rosé in the suite beforehand, then probably she absolutely did. Pooh Bear, you're the man, dude. I appreciate you. That's a walk-off shot right there. Ferris Thoughts, thank you for the 5. Everyone keeps acting like some quote-unquote fans still have it out for day. Is this true? Or are we making too much of a big deal of the outrage after the Michigan game? I don't know how it can be true after he just won the national title. I don't know what else he can do. And this is the pinnacle of everything. This is what we all shoot for. This is what we all pray for. This is what you spend the NIL money for. This is why you guys watch our podcast, is to say every night you guys want to know, do we have a chance to win a national title? Basically, every recruit we break down, every commitment, every transfer portal ad, every coaching search, every whatever. It's how is this program shaping up to win a national championship? That's it. Nothing else matters. And all the stuff that we talked about all year, how good this team is going to be, most talented. And again, it's not just me and Nevada saying this to get everything all spun up. It's Urban Meyer said it. Jim Tressel said it. I talked to those guys. They say, oh, this, and this. Oh, I've never seen a team that looks like this. Oh, so it's like, we just did everything that we projected that we would do. We thought they'd win the national championship. The roster was fantastic. Great leadership. I said when we hired Chip Kelly, I was like, I hope Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator for the rest of my life. And if he dies, I hope that they can turn his brain into some sort of cyborg robot that can still run the offense and call plays and do everything else, because that's how much I love Chip Kelly. I've watched this stuff for years. I met him I actually met him 10 years ago at the national championship game at the Four Seasons in Dallas. And we talked for a couple hours. And, the funny thing is, now that I think back on it, is do you know the guy Big Dom, Nevada? The big security guy for Philadelphia, the Eagles, the big dude. He's like,
oh yeah, of
like,
course, yeah.
That he was with him. That's who that was. Because I thought he was a coach, and it was Big Dom and Joe Azavazio or whatever. It was Joe. That was the guy that was with him everywhere he went. He was the D-line coach at Oregon, the D-line coach at UCLA, D-line coach for the Eagles, for the 49ers. But Big Dom was who was with him, because this guy was huge, and I was talking to him, and that was back when I looked like the Hulk, and I was huge, and so we were both like two huge dudes, and I was talking to him. I was like, "Are you a coach? Are you a grad assistant? Are you learning?" And he was a security guy, which I didn't. But this is before he was on TV and wears his little Italian flag and everything. I didn't know what his role was, but he was just there hanging out, and that now I put it all together. I was like, that's who it was, Big Dom. But no, it was cool, and like he could have been nicer, and I just kept asking him football questions, which you probably drove him crazy because he's shooting, pulling, and drinking. But I just wanted to know scheme and differences. And again, I don't want to be like crazy, but he couldn't have been nicer, and he loved Urban Meyer. And when I name dropped that I worked for Urban, it was kind of like one of those things where I was kind of validated to him that Urban retained me. I can't be a total jackwagon. And he's like, Urban, I love Urban. Urban's my guy. So I was like, pretty cool. But like, I hope Chip Kelly's here for the rest of my life, because again, I watched that scheme and I just break down those little nuances in the plays, and I'm like, whew, hard to go against. And with our skill and speed and the power we got up front, like real hard to go against. So Nevada, your thoughts? Do you think that and again, I appreciate you, Ferris thoughts. Everyone keeps acting like some quote unquote fans have it out for day. Is this true, or are we making too big of a deal out of the outreach after the Michigan game? What are your thoughts?
Well, they don't have it out for him now, but I mean, after the Michigan game, there was a sizable contingent that wanted him fired, and that would have meant firing the guy that was just won the national championship at 45. So that would have been under the category of bad decisions, in my opinion. And we just have to. I think we have to accept the fact that Ohio State fans have really high expectations, in my opinion, impossibly high expectations for their coaches and their staff. And I think it's to the point where it's so high, I think it's unhealthy. And I understand having high expectations. I think high expectations generally foot to good performance. But I think with Ohio State fans, man, this expectation of perfection, especially in the era of the 12-team playoff, I just think that we need to moderate. And that's one of my goals on this podcast, at least for the people that listen here, that maybe they just moderate the way that they expect to moderate their fandom a little bit to reflect the reality of it's not about season-long excellence anymore. It's about peaking at the end of the year to get the prize, because that's exactly what we did this year, and look where we are.
Yeah, it's what a year. What an offseason this is going to be. It's going to be great. All right, Nevada, let's wrap this thing up. You got any final thoughts?
No, I'm happy that I'm alive. I'm happy I survived the terror of today, and you were there with me today. You supported me through everything I went through today, Mr. Barton, and I want to thank you for being my rock. As I
and you don't want to tell the story because this was a great story, but it is kind of
no,
funny. But I know that you're.
I'm not going to tell the story. I'll tell the story tomorrow. Or, how about this? I'll tell the story when we get our 35,000
Oh my
subscriber
God.
on YouTube. We're at 34,000.
People are gonna unsubscribe because of you.
We're at 34,870. When we get to 35,000, I will tell the story. And yes, it was absolutely terrifying. But I lived through. I want you to know that I lived through it. But I wouldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it without you, Burke. Man, you were there for me. You were the rock. You were the wind beneath my wings.
Well, I was just thinking if someone murdered you, I was like, am I going to call Devin or am I going to call Funky? I was like, so the show's got to go on. If you're laying there in your pool of blood and you're just like,
oh my gosh.
I
almost died. I almost died today. I almost died. And
Chico walks over and takes a whiz on you. And then when he's blind and can't hear, when he just keeps ramming into you and saying, why aren't you moving? Just walking into you like blind, like
that's what Winnie does. I have the door open, and when he's not blind, she's deaf. But when he will walk into the door when I have the door open on the side, she walks into the door. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Winnie.
Because she's deaf, but not blind. She's deaf and walks into the door.
She walks into the door. She can't. I don't know what's wrong with Winnie. Winnie's a strange little rescue dog. So yeah, she's 15 though. She's getting older. So hey, aren't we all?
What is deaf? No wonder she likes our podcast. It's perfect.
Yeah, she loves it. She loves it. She loves it.
She loves it. Put on the podcast for Winnie. She loves it. She's sitting there looking at the sky.
She looks up at Kirk. She thinks Kirk's so cuddly. She smiles. Looks up at Kirk.
Oh my God. She followed us on Apple Podcasts, so she can listen to the audio version. She got the best of both worlds. She can't on Apple Podcasts. She can't see us, and then she also can't hear us. It's the best way.
And she bought all of her gear at the Scoop Fanatics store. So Winnie, thank you, Winnie, for buying it. If you need your gear, buy it here. Scoop Fanatics store. BuckeyeScoop.com. Scoop Fanatics.
They got little tiny doggy diapers with the national championship logo on them.
Exactly. Let's go.
Puppy pads with the national championship logo on them.
Let's go.
Let's go, capitalism. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Appreciate you guys. As always, another awesome show. Thank you guys for being such an amazing crew. The Scoop family is awesome. And again, we love you guys to death. Appreciate all that you guys do. And thank you guys for showing up each and every night like we do. So if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, thank you so much for everything you do. If you guys have needs, you want gear, again, it's one of those things where you don't know when we're gonna get the next one. It's been 10 years since the last one, so you better buy it up now. Use our Fanatics link. It is in the bio. Easy to find. Click on it. We get credit for it, and we appreciate you guys doing that to help us out in a major way. With all this going on, we told you if you followed us on Apple Podcasts, you'd win a national title. If you want to follow through on that again, follow us on Apple Podcasts right inside your iPhone or your iPad. Search Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. Again, it's super easy to do. We appreciate you guys. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. I appreciate all you guys do. Love you guys to death. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Let's keep this thing rolling, man, because the season's over, we ain't stopping. The offseason is going to be cooking on BuckeyeScoop.com, which means you should join the message board, because the message board is awesome. Great people, great place to do business, to meet some of your best friends. All of my best friends are from the board. So if you guys aren't on it, you guys really should consider it, because it is really fun. So thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a great night. Go Bucks.